with base GPU prices getting so high, even at MSRP, have consoles finally won the price to performance war? So we've definitely talked about the whole, especially when the consoles were coming out, these sort of questions come up all the time. Now, I'm no console expert. Tim certainly has much more insight there. I barely even know about pricing and availability. Very little. But my understanding is that, at least here in Australia, it's probably the same for most other regions, that the consoles are very difficult to buy. And they're heavily scalped and priced. I think I looked at like a PS5. It was like over $1,200 on eBay.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think
what are they meant to be?
Here in Australia, $750, I think, and then obviously in the US, $500 for the disc model of the PS5. And the Xbox, I think, is scalped to less of an extent.
Okay,
but it's still heavily sought after. But yeah,
the silicon shortage is still affecting those particular gaming consoles. So yeah, it seems pretty universal that things are being scalped, prices are jacked up, and all that sort of stuff. And it's happening more with graphics cards because cryptocurrency, crypto miners are using those. Is that increasing demand from gamers, and some gamers are turning to consoles, and that's increasing the demand for consoles? I think the demand for consoles is always very high anyway at the start of a generation, right?
I think with this generation, there's been more of that happening, of PC gamers sort of giving up. You know, we've seen many times in our comment section on YouTube or on Twitter, people saying, I gave up this generation and I bought an Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5 or whatever. So I feel like if you can get one for $700, I mean, I don't know what the game ecosystem's like there, how much you have to pay for games, and if there's free games available. I know you can play things like Fortnite. Well, there's like Xbox has Game Pass. That's on PC as well. So
yeah, if you could get one for the MSRP, like the recommended retail price, as it's called here in Australia, then $700, decent gaming unit. If all you want to do is game, then that would certainly be a better alternative to what you can get on the PC front. But if you're having to pay scalper prices like $1,200, I think places like PC Keski have pre-built fairly decent gaming systems regularly, always available for around $2,000. So yeah, that is nearly twice the price, but it's a full computer. You can use it for more than just gaming.
Yeah, that's always the thing with these console discussion is like... It's
apples, oranges type deal.
It sort of is. I guess the main talking point would be, what is it like being pure PC gamer? So you're not using your PC for other tasks. I know a lot of people do, but in this situation, pure PC gaming versus console. I think I'd find it pretty hard to recommend someone just go out and buy a PC if they're only going to game on it right now.
Depends on the type of game. But I think this is more a value pitched question, so I think you're right. Yeah.
So I think just as a general gamer, you're probably, especially as you say, if you can get something at the MSRP, in the US, if you can buy a PS5 for $500,
you can't even get like an RX 580 for that price.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes the console a lot more worth it at the time, at this time especially. And I don't think that's really been the case as much with previous.
No, we're in a special time, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the consoles, I think this generation are a bit more competitive with PC. They're more backwards compatible with older consoles, so a wider library of games is supported, and things like Game Pass make like the Xbox pretty attractive.
The merging of consoles and PCs seems to be slowly happening with each generation, but our answer is somewhat redundant if you can't get it at the MSRP or recommended retail price. If you're paying close to double, then
it's sort of similar to PC. But I think this question is also kind of why at the end of my PC hardware, the GPU pricing update video, I was sort of talking about how I don't think the current GPU prices are particularly sustainable. And I think part of that is linked into this talk about the consoles and their value, because why would someone pay, let's say, $500 for a 6600 XT when you could get a full PlayStation 5 that basically outperforms the 6600 XT? Like that sort of ecosystem I don't think could actually exist if we're in a more plentiful availability situation. So obviously, if we get low availability for the foreseeable future, like years and years and years, then maybe the current GPU prices could continue. But again, if people are just flocking to buy PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X's instead of buying ridiculously overpriced GPUs, then those GPUs are not going to they're not going to make sense. People aren't going to be sitting there buying those products because they're just not going to be the value option.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen these things happen in cycles before, and that doesn't necessarily mean the cycle is going to last for a predetermined amount of time.
Yeah.
But I believe we are in a cycle of obviously high pricing, and I think it will at some point drop back off, as we've seen for the last few cryptocurrency booms. But there are a few other, as we've talked about at length on the Q&A series, there are a few different factors for why we have gone through what we've gone through with GPU pricing. It's, can be largely attributed to cryptocurrency mining, but there are other factors there that are helping prolong the pain.
Yeah, and obviously cryptocurrency doesn't affect consoles.
No.
That's just a pure demand versus supply situation for
Exactly.
those. So.
Yep.